In order to draw the graph of functions, sometimes we wonder about scale of graphs. What is appropriate scale? In fact, any scale will work provided the rule of choosing consistent scale is not violated. Let's take an example of this given function y is equal to 500 plus 9x, where y represents the amount of rainfall since January this year, while x denotes the number of months since start of the year, while 500 was the amount of rain in the previous year. So from this equation, the first thing we are going to do is get the table of values. So let's label one column as x and the other column as y, and 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These 5 values for x, and against these 5 values we will find values of the dependent variable y. So let's find out. So for against 0 it will be 500, for 1 it will be 509 and 518, 527 and 535. These are values of the dependent variable, while x is independent variable. X being independent variable will be plotted on horizontal axis because it is time. So let's write this as time, or you can write as x, and this is time in months. This is x, and y is here, y along y-axis, and this is rainfall in milliliters. And because the starting value is 500, so this is very important point to note, because we have to choose a scale which is consistent, means that if one small scale is representing a given interval, that scale must be preserved throughout the graph. Here along horizontal axis, let's first choose horizontal axis. So horizontal axis and horizontal axis is pretty easy. We have to start from 0, and our values are luckily starting from 0, so no problem there. But because we have only 5 values and there is enough space, so we can take two small squares is equal to 1. Two small squares equal to 1. So this is, if this is 0 here, then this would be 1 here, and 2 over here, 3 over here, and 4 over here. If we had smaller space, we certainly would choose this scale, that one small square is equal to 1. If we had more values to plot, again it depends upon the available space. If the space is available and you want your work to look neat and clean and spacious, not cramped, you can choose appropriate scale, just like I did for horizontal axis, because I had to plot only 5 values and there was enough space along horizontal axis. Therefore, I comfortably took two small squares equal to 1. But if the space was not enough, I would have chosen one small square is equal to 1. Now is the along vertical axis. The problem here is, okay, let's write down vertical axis. Scale along vertical axis. Here we can see that the initial value is big enough if we choose a scale of 10, we would go out of our available space to plot the initial value, which is 500. But initial value is huge, it's big, and then the intervals are small. So what should we do? In fact, we can do here, we can break the graph in the start, and we can break the graph like this by putting this sign, and if you want to write down, you can write it here, break in graph. But if you don't write break in graph, that's fine too. You don't have to write, but if for clarity, if you write break in graph, you can plot this as 500 and then choose one small square equal to 9. So you can choose one small square equal to 9. So this will become 509, and this will become 518, this will become 527, and this will become 535. Now you can see that the problem of starting a bigger value in the start is resolved. The graph still started from the number 0, but because of this break in graph, we accommodated the big gap with this symbol that tells the user that this place is for plotting all those values for which we don't have any point on the horizontal axis. Therefore, the first point would be 0, 500, which is here, and then at 1 along x-axis there is a 509, so that would be the point right here, and then for 2 it would be 518, for 2 it would be 518 is right here, and this is, let's make it a little bigger, and for 3 it would be 527, so that would be right here, and at 4 it would be right here, that is. And now if you can visualize, all these points lie on a straight line because this is a linear function, that therefore it must represent a straight line, and the equation of this would be y equal to 500 plus 9x plus 9x. Here I repeat the problems that might be faced while graphing about the scale is that the scale along x-axis and along y-axis are totally independent and they must be chosen independently, but they must be consistent. It means along x-axis, whatever is representing 1 unit, that must be consistent throughout the values for along x-axis, and whatever you have chosen for 1 unit along y-axis, that must be preserved along the whole range of values. So this is for the scale of graph, and if you have any question, please post your question in the comment section and I will be happy to answer any of your queries.